Hello? 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 Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I think you can. So yeah, this is called the structure, and I may end up, I don't know. See, I'm getting sort of conflicting signals, and I don't know. Okay. So first of all, just to get the idea out there for the stream. This stream is going to be about kind of the structure of what's going on, and yeah, that's basically it. Now, part of why I'm doing it is because I've sort of felt like I'd like to throughout the day. Even last night, I felt like I'd like to, and I've been sort of getting no signals, but I've been getting like basically the no signals have been coming from things where it seems like it's fucking with me. Like when you get the targeted ads for like you get targeted ads for things on YouTube, etc. And it's a common phenomenon, phenomena is plural. But it's a common phenomenon that ads will basically, like, if you said something, an ad will kind of react to that. And so you mentioned Metallica, and then suddenly you're going to get a Metallica ad. I don't know what ad you'd get for them, but that's just an example. You mention a topic, and then you get an ad related to that. But of course, as you know, computers work in the realm of daemons. You Oh wait, hold on. Is this? Can we hear better now? I don't even effing know, man. Of course, as computers work in the realm of daemons, the ads often seem demonic. Let's just put it that way. And so it's not just that you'll get ads that are targeted; it's that you'll get ads that seem to be fairly similar to, like, say, for example, there are fair. I don't want to call them fortune telling channels necessarily, but there are channels on YouTube where it'll be someone and they'll be kind of giving you like maybe sort of tarot reading type things, maybe literal tarot readings, etc. And I've watched some of these like a few times. I've stopped watching them partially because it's just such an anxiety provoker. Because this person is going to invariably be telling you, like, well, invariably or not, they'll be saying things where, like, it seems like actually it's fairly close and like oddly close to what's going on, but often it keeps you in this cycle of like constantly running after things. Like they'll be like, "Oh, your next big break is right around the corner," or, "Oh, things are going to turn out well if you watch this video," or you're finally getting your time in the light or something. And you just hear that like month after month, but then like every once in a while it'll be like sort of a pullback, like, "Okay, well, things you're getting a change. You're in for a change. Oh, no, your change of plans." And it's like, well, wait a second. No, I wanted to be on the track where something good was going to happen, right? I've put in a lot of work, and I actually have. Like, I actually feel like I have been following intuition for a long time, etc. And so you watch these videos and it's like, "Oh, like, wow, okay, yeah, like, great." And then it sounds like, "Oh, Matt, you're so gullible." It's like, I don't know. You check some of these videos out, depending on how much into spiritual practice you are, you may or may not get much out of them. But I felt like a pretty strong connection from them. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure how many of these videos aren't gang stalking, actually. The funny, and it's like, "Oh, Matt, now you went from gullible to just crazy," right? It's like, well, basically, the ads themselves, and to get back to the ads, often the ads will be referring to something you talk about. Often the ads will be referring to something that might be sort of conducive to whatever you're already doing, or it might be appealing to you, etc. Right? Or if you're a guy, you might get an ad for, like, a sexy, just some picture of a sexy woman, and it a lot of these times it seems like it's literally advertising nothing, or it's advertising something that you'd probably never never be interested in. But it's basically just the image is there to be the image. And so like, oh, you like Asian girls? Well, you're gonna get a picture of like a sexy Asian woman or something, etc. Or you're gonna get some anime that looks fairly sexualized. I saw like a Marvel Rivals thing where a woman had like gigantic boobs. I was like, what the heck is this anime thing? And it was like Marvel, and I was like, Marvel, are they really like being that pornographic these days? Or are they going that low, just like low hanging fruit, etc. In any case, so there's sort of a continuum though, because what I've found, and this gets to the more daemonic or perhaps demonic element of it, or the more gang stalkery perhaps, and that's something that I've seemed to have dealt with. What I seem to have found is that often now the ads will maybe they're just it's sort of like gang stalking goes from covert to overt, and it's like now they say in various documents or like online, it's like at a certain stage they're often trying to tell you um, what's going on. Like for example, like they'll like literally call your name out in public, or like basically they'll do stuff to the point where it's like it's obvious that it's just recurring things, or it's to the point where it's so bizarre. It's like, okay, they're not trying to hide it at all. Like part of it is actually for you to notice, perhaps. And but then see the element there, or an element there might be that these people are like fucking with you. And a lot of the time it is like a lot of the time it's like they're kind of pushing your buttons. They're trying to sensitize you to certain things and then do those things over and over again. And I find a similar thing with the ads, except for me now, and I guess it's been this way for a little while. It's basically revealed itself to be like kind of evil, like actually antagonistic. Like for example, I live with a parent, right? And so and it's an older person relative to me, and unfortunately I'm getting towards middle age myself. Oh wow, Matt, you're such a loser. It's like, oh well, okay, I've been beaten down. I've actually been gang stalked, and I've been beaten down in 100 ways, just like everyone listening to this probably has, unless you live on your own island or something. And in that case, I imagine it still gets to you in some way or another, unless you're one of the people. And we're about to get to that, the 10 percenters or whatever, right? The one-eyed man versus the two-eyed versus the blind, right? But it now seems to be that the ads will be like, oh, so I live with like an older person, and it's an older person who like is like a female person. I hate when people use the term female as a noun. What a terrible thing. Anyone, somebody wrote that at Substack too. They're like, it's about as classy as somebody calling women females. It's like, yeah, well, absolutely. And I'm glad somebody mentioned it, because it almost sounds like there's some kind of sense of like courtesy to it, or some sense of like, ooh, like that guy's suave. He's referring to women as females. It's like, no, it's awful. Like that's one of the most demeaning things you can say. That's like like you call someone, like for example, like someone is a white male. It's like that's a demeaning way to refer to somebody. And so to refer to women as females, that's just about as bad as saying bitches. Um, it might be worse. I'd say take your pick. I think there are worse things about either side of that. But in any case, like, so I live with a person, and you live with somebody, and like after a while it becomes like sort of difficult to perhaps deal with things. And like it's sort of, well, especially if it seems like they might be harassing you as well, maybe not. But in any case, you like suddenly you fucking see an ad on YouTube, like you hear them like in another room, like very close to you or something, and it's like kind of like it's a really like gross kind of emotional or energetic situation. It's like they're like right underneath you, like on the floor below you, and they're just like standing there, and there's like this is the place where you're sitting, and there's really not much you're going to be able to do to move out. But well, A, move out, it'd be nice to, right? But then B, to like move out of the room, it's like, well, if you went into another room, the stuff wouldn't be there. So it's like you're not stuck there, but you're kind of situated there. And then they're not situated below you, but they're just lurking there, right? And then you you look at an ad and it says like older women looking for attention or something, and it's this like older woman like leering at you in like this like short cocktail dress or something, and it's like that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. That's an antagonistic ad. That's an ad where it's fucking with you. It's not an ad where it thinks that here's the thing. Like, why would it think that why would it think that that would appeal to me, right? Based on what search history, especially given that I don't see that kind of ad like very often, like older XYZ. Based on really what kind of ad do they think they're giving me that I'm going to be appealed to? No, it seems like they're fucking with me, right? It's just like the gang stalking thing. And it's just like everything these days, or a lot of things where people aren't mean to you anymore. Well, people are very mean to you, but they're double mean to you because nowadays either they're such a coward that they're afraid to be mean to you. And I've actually talked back to a person recently, and he was a lot bigger than I was, and he was like a higher position in an organization that I was in at the time than I was. And I talked back to him after he was being like sort of surreptitiously mean to me, and he backed down right away. And I wasn't even being that firm. In fact, I was kind of being like I don't know. Like, I feel like I probably came off as like semi prissy in the way I responded, but I did respond in a direct way. I was like, well, let's see what this person thinks about that, because I think I'm doing fine. And then this guy backed down so quickly. It seemed like he was like sort of terrified. And so perhaps it is just a fear thing, but it's also kind of evil, and it's worse. At least for me, it is worse because it sort of becomes like people are mean to you these days, but then they're mean to you in a way where it's plausibly deniable, or at least to me. And so basically, everyone's going around being passive aggressively mean. But then the second you ever point it out, it's like, oh, I wasn't being mean, as I've talked about maybe on a video or something. It's like, it's the equivalent of someone saying, oh, you look nice today. And then you're like basically they say it in an insulting way. And then you're like, oh, and then you call them out and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of mean to say. And then they're like, what? I said you look nice. And it's like, okay, so we're at an impasse, right? It's like, okay, so if you're not going to admit it, then I guess everyone else in the room is going to be too much of a coward, or going to like that other person more, or whatever, and they're not going to admit it. So here I am alone, and you're all like, you got to insult me, and then everyone gets to call me crazy because I fucking pointed it out. Right? It's like, well, Matt, you are crazy. It's like, see, I don't think so. I think the entire world, and it's like, oh, Matt, see, now Jay-Z said, if everyone else is crazy, then you must be the crazy one. It's like, no, I think most people today, or at least most people around me, and perhaps it is a me thing, not a me bad perception thing, but a me thing of like certain things about me. That's the way they approach me. But people are mean to you and really nasty. But then the second you call it out, they're like, oh, well, you're crazy as well, because I wasn't being mean to you at all. I was being nice to you. I actually like you. And it's like, well, first of all, I don't care if you like me. If you're being a dick to me, then I don't like you. And actually, I'd almost rather you not like me, because that would probably speak ill of me, right? But basically, it's this plausible, deniable kind of stuff. And it's really just this gaslighting mean stuff. People are gaslighting mean these days. They're very mean. They're almost totally mean. They're almost totally cruel. You get into an argument with like somebody online, and often this like, oh, like Scott Adams used to say, he's like, oh, Scott, you think that's like that kind of tone. It's like, they're doing a fake laugh, like, oh, you are. They do the crying, laughing emoji, like, it is so funny that you would ever say that. It's like, it's this fake. It's just this like, maybe multiple levels of fake being mean. And then, but often, at least online, usually people will be sort of like, it's like, okay, well, they're being obviously mean. And if you said like, hey, you're being mean, they'd probably be like, well, no shit. But in real life, it often seems like it's actually a similar amount of fakeness, maybe similar amount of levels of it. And they're also being mean, but then they're doing it in a way where you just know that if you called them out on it, and often I think I have called people out. Maybe I should call people out more, but I think I have, and I think they have said like, oh, I didn't mean that, or I didn't mean it that way. It's like, again, I go back to the "you look nice today" comment when you have like something on your shirt, right? It's like, or just in general, like even just with the tone, it's like, all right, like, Are we just going to pretend there's no such thing as a tone? So every time you use a tone, your tone totally works, except when you want to deny it, and then it is totally like a non-evident thing because you said no. It's like, are we going to be that dishonest with ourselves and with everyone else? So but that's here's the thing, to get back to the ads, it's like these days I get ads for like that woman, senior woman seeking male kind of thing, male attention or whatever. Or I get ads like in Spanish. And I've been fairly outspoken about how much illegal immigration has destroyed this country. Now, here's the thing: I'm no fan of the government, and I'm no fan of I'm no fan of like the idea that there would be a group of people saying you get to be here and you don't. But if there is that group of people there, then suddenly they are enforcing these rules, and suddenly they have everyone else in an open air prison. And then if a bunch of people come into that open air prison, that just packs the prison tighter. And suddenly you have to deal with a bunch of other people in the prison that you're already in. Right. So, and it's not just that the jobs are taken. Oh, in South Park. Oh, Matt, they took our jobs. Right. It's like, yeah. Oh, so all South Park had to do is, oh God, like all fucking South Park had to do is say that one thing. And then suddenly it becomes totally untrue that they're taking jobs. It's like, well, they just take the jobs that nobody wants. It's like, well, I think there are a lot of people out of work in America who'd like some kind of job. And I think there are a lot of people very, very well employed, or at least very, very indeed employed in America, who are not from America, and they came in and they took jobs that the other people might actually have gotten if the other people didn't take it. And then beyond that, if you don't like that whole idea, then it's like, oh, well, if I get a job doing X, Y, or Z, it's probably going to be with a bunch of people who are here illegally. And then I have to spend my entire day pretending that everything's just fine when I'm being treated like a prisoner in this country. And then those people are coming in and just making as much money, basically more money here than they would elsewhere. So they're just economic opportunists coming in and taking advantage of everything here. And it's not just the jobs either, because then the housing prices go up. That's huge. Then the car insurance prices go up, and you're forced to have car insurance. You're coerced into it by the government if you're going to drive, etc. And it's just like it's just everything. And so after all that, or just a lot of stuff like that, after a lot of stuff like that, then suddenly I get all these ads, or at least every once in a while I get an ad that's straight up in Spanish. It's like, I'm not going to any websites in Spanish. I'm not typing anything in Spanish. I'm not speaking Spanish. I don't think my microphones have a lot of like Spanish speaking people around them where it's like being heard by the computer. And yet I get these Spanish speaking ads every once in a while. It's like, no, that's a fuck you, just like the other ad I just mentioned with the senior woman seeking dates, right? So anyway, let's get to the name of the stream. So the name of the stream is The Structure. And so the structure, it's like, well, why did you talk about you know what? I feel like I was going somewhere with that, but let's just get to the point here. Oh yeah, okay. So where I was going with that was that I felt like I wanted to do a stream. I felt like I wanted to do a stream, and I was getting all these signals like, this bad idea, catastrophic, horrible, like literally, like you go on YouTube and then all the ads are saying like, this is the worst idea ever. And then you go on Substack and all the things are saying like, oh, that would be the worst thing you could ever do. And it's like, well, you didn't listen. And it's like, well, if this is the same algorithm or daemon or AI or whatever that is giving me these other things that seem to be saying fuck you, then am I going to trust that it's correct, or that it's giving suddenly it's like, oh, well, now it's actually like it's sort of guidance and it's a sign, rather than it's just fucking with me? It's like, well, maybe if I'd like to do a stream and it says like catastrophic failure 1,000 times on the screen suddenly on the algorithm when I'm thinking of doing one, then maybe that's actually a sign that it's a good thing to do a stream. Now, here's the thing: it could be reverse psychology, and then it's like, all right, well, well then, okay, great. So it is catastrophic failure because I would think that you're fucking with me, and I would think that you wouldn't give me good advice, and that's when you do give me the good advice, and it's still essentially from an evil source that would still say fuck you, but now it's ironically sort of egging you on by saying that, right? It's like, so in any case, I'm doing a stream here. And maybe it'll turn out to be a terrible, terrible thing. But I just looked at my list of like personal things not to do, and streaming on YouTube wasn't one of them. So fuck it. You know what? It's like, okay, so what's the what's the objective reason not to do a stream right now? Well, I guess the objective reason would be you're kind of diluting your channel, but this is kept in the streams thing. It's kept in the live category. It's not kept in the videos category. So I don't think it's that much dilution. People might get some kind of notification about it, but I haven't looked at my live videos. I think before today, it may be in like weeks. I don't know if I've looked like checked out like, oh, what lives did I do? In fact, I was surprised to see a couple more recently, right? So it's like, okay, so objectively, it doesn't seem like that much of a dilution thing. Doesn't seem like that much of like a bad thing. And it's like, oh Matt, but the bad thing is that you're gonna say something that you regret, and then suddenly like all the people who have you under a microscope are gonna have the ammunition against you to call you crazy or something. It's like, look, if somebody wants to disingenuously call me crazy, then they have as much ammunition as they want, because I'm fairly open about speaking honestly and speaking sincerely. And all you have to do is speak honestly and speak sincerely. And eventually you're going to run up against like some kind of metric for somebody following the propaganda to call you crazy. It's like, oh, he doesn't believe in X, Y, or Z. He's crazy. It's like, okay. So then it's like, okay, so what's the real danger? I don't know if there is a real danger. Now, I guess the other danger would be speaking, like basically speaking too loud and annoying people around me. And it's like, well, that's possible. That's possible. And I'd rather not do that. And then also that's like a strategic thing, like that would like an unstrategic thing to do. That would be strategic bad, right? And I also, you know what? Here's the thing. Ever since starting the stream, I haven't felt great either. Like I think I feel a little better doing the stream now than I've felt like doing various Twitch streams, which actually I'm really I've written down not to do anymore. But you know, like I feel okay. But and like my control, like I have a PS3 controller charging right now, and I'm thinking of getting some footage for like a video, an actual YouTube video, not just a live video. Not that this is an actual, but you know, I'm thinking of getting some footage for a video. And so I'm charging the PS3 controller. Now it's been blinking this entire time, so I hope that it's been actually charging and it hasn't been just sort of on a standby mode. But it won't be the end of the world if it hasn't been charging. And I have something to do at 8 anyway, so that's fine. You know, half an hour, less than a half an hour max now before I'm probably getting off of it anyway. It's like, okay, Matt. So you're gonna get to the point. You're gonna explain the title. What you said, 10 percenters. You said. What you said, the one-eyed man and then the blind and then the two-eyed man or whatever, one-eyed man and the two-eyed man and the blind earlier. What are you talking about? Okay, so this is it. Here's the structure. And I've talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating. And I was sort of thinking out loud or like speaking out loud after a certain point when it seems like people are listening in. And I mean, you could really just like sort of presume that maybe the NSA is listening in, right? Like it's really like it's sort of so many things have gotten so in your face. For example, the Epstein stuff, X, Y, and Z, and some of those Epstein files seem to talk about like ballistic behavior and like you know, very young people not just being treated badly in a way that other people might have talked about, but also treated badly in a way where like people might be. It's similar to when what Barbara Marx Hubbard has the video, and you can go look for it, where she accidentally said the babies we eat. It's like the babies we eat. Wow. Like you can check out that video. It's like, oh man, that's a fake video. It's like, no, she actually, it's, you check it. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there in person, but like it basically, it just seems like a slip, but it was one of the most bizarre slips you've ever heard. And so with the Epstein files, with all that stuff, and then with all the spying stuff, it's gotten to the point where you kind of have to be like a big liar to even contest that anyone is crazy about anything in terms of I'm being listened to or in terms of these people are doing horrible things. It's like, okay, well, all you have to do is like go to the freaking mainstream, like all the mainstream liars themselves, and they'll be telling you about it. And of course, they seem to lie to you all the time. But if even they are telling you about this stuff, then it's like, all right, so even the mainstream says this stuff happens. Even the mainstream says the NSA is listening. So therefore, you know, someone might indeed be listening to you. So here I was, and I was just sort of like talking something out. And I was like, you know what, like, I'd like to just jump on a stream and talk about it. The structure. Okay, so what is the structure? Well, this is interesting with the gang stalking thing. So the structure seems to me to be, I wrote it down in the Illustrated RPG Life like this. It's the blind, then it's the one-eyed man or one-eyed people, and then it's the two-eyed people. All right. Now, the blind are your people who essentially believe the lies on TV. The blind are the people who buy into the mainstream shit. Whoever actually seems to buy into it, or I don't know how much you could really buy into a lot of it these days, but whoever is still claiming to buy into it, those people, well, if they're claiming to, but they don't, then they might be like halfway to, one-eyed man. But if they really are like caught in this system of like they turn on the news and they believe everything they hear, and they believe that the people in the government are working for their good, and they believe the people in Hollywood are good, and they believe that they've heard this Epstein stuff, but that's just like a couple people here and there, and they're gonna prosecute him and whatever. Like, oh, it's basically nothing. Basically, if you're believing all that, you're the blind. You're the 85%. Wu-Tang talks about 85% deaf, dumb, and blind. I think that's a Nation of I thing. You can look it up. It stands for something here, but I don't necessarily want to say the word. But just because you want to be careful about the words you say. But a Nation of I thing where it's the 85%. Those are the deaf, dumb, and blind. And I thought to say YouTube. Wu-Tang, even in the famous song Triumph, he says, one of them says the dumb are mostly intrigued by the drums, or the yeah, I think one of them says the dumb are mostly intrigued by the drums. I think he's talking about 85%ers. You can check out the Wu-Tang manual. RZA talks about it more. But yeah, so the 85%, that's the people who buy into the program, right? More or less. To whatever extent, but if they're basically buying in, it's like, I guess you could be more or less 85%. And they are easily controlled by the 10%. Who are the 10%? The 10% are the people who know that the program is lies, or at least know that a decent amount of it would be lies, but they're going along with it for their own benefit. So that would be the 10%. That would be probably a lot of people like on TV, probably a lot of people wearing maybe badges, probably a lot of people wearing nice suits and putting motions through in certain rooms that have that are called the same thing as the first syllable of the name Courtney, like certain rooms of the first syllable of the name Courtney, and they're putting motions through, and they wear nice suits, and a lot of them probably are, or they wear like their Harry Potter robes if they're judges or whatever. A lot of these people are probably either 85%ers or like halfway to 10%ers. 10%ers, they don't believe in it, or they realize that a lot of it is lies. But here's the key thing: they peddle the lies. They act as if the lies are true to make money. And indeed, I guess your real 10%ers are the people who are convincing other people of the lies, so that they are directly taking advantage of those other people with these lies. So they're lying to others, and they're in some materialistic way or whatever benefiting from it. That would be the one-eyed man. That would be the 10%. The 85% are the people being abused, being taken advantage of, and believing the lies and just going along with the whole system. Now, the 5%ers. Now, here's the thing: when RZA talks about 5%, or like when certain people, like if you're talking about the term 5%, it might specifically be like a certain religion thing, or a certain group thing, and they'd say like, no, it is just the Nation of I that is the 5%, and anyone else they're not actually 5%. I don't know. I think RZA would probably be hip enough that he'd be a 10%er or a 5%er, and he'd also probably say like, okay, well, you can basically be a 5% or whatever, whether you subscribe to the Nation of I or not. I'm not sure, but I think that's a good breakdown though, because in my estimation of it, it seems to me to be the blind, and then you have the one-eyed man. Here's the thing: the one-eyed man, he sees the lies, but he doesn't see the morality. He sees the lies, but apparently it seems like he is not aware of the moral situation. And so he's still half blind. He in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, Tom Waits lyric, right? He's still partially blind, or at least it seems that way, because otherwise I don't think he would sacrifice his soul like that. I don't think he would act in such a way where there would be such seemingly like severe consequences on various levels that might not be immediately apparent. So basically, I think these are kind of materialistic people, or even so-called spiritual or spiritualistic people, but they're dark occultists. And Mark Passio talks about the dark occultists. They are caught up in the evil. They're lying to people. They're doing evil things to people, and then they're using people as their dogs, as their scapegoats, and as as their agents. And so who are the two-eyed men, right, Matt? Okay, you're about to say you're the two-eyed man, right? It's like, well, I am about to say that. You know why? And I think I earned that. Well, you don't have to earn. Well, you earn it by being it, right? But basically, the two-eyed man is someone who sees through the bullshit. They realize that at least they may not even realize how many lies there are. There may be lies that they still like haven't even like looked into. But at a certain point, it's like, all right, basically everything in the mainstream, it's up to question. It's suspect. Like Matt McKinley might say, it's like almost everything they say on the news. It's like, you know what? Like you can say it. If I wasn't there and I didn't see it happen, I'm not sure I believe it. And even if I thought I saw something happen, that doesn't mean that it actually happened the way that it's then explained, right? But beyond that, there are so many things. It's like lie after lie after lie. It's like the entire thing. It's like the entire spectrum of like how people talk about like sexual issues, filled with lies. The entire spectrum of how people talk about so-called medical issues, filled with lies. Historical issues, just on its face filled with lies, because there are so many contradictions. And it's like, oh Matt, what contradictions? It's like, yeah, like the same people who might basically people respected by this society and putting stuff out, they'll put out in their own books stuff that basically says like this is bullshit, or they'll put out stuff in their own books saying like this is what our plan is, and then you'll go see later, oh they actually did it. It's like, okay, so just so many things, lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. And I said in the first Matt's blog video, it's like, okay, and this is live, so it's not a Matt's blog, although I guess part of this is kind of edging towards that. Although it doesn't count as an actual video, so I don't count it as like the same thing. But um, what? Oh yeah, so basically, you have the one-eyed man telling everyone else what we say whenever we say it is true. Everything else these days, anyway. Generally, everything else is relative and it's up for debate. And like, oh, it's not this way or that. But whenever we say something, it's absolutely true. And then people take that on, like the 85 percenters, whatever, the the blind, and they take that on, and perhaps unknowingly, perhaps knowingly, in some cases, they go around saying, "Well, if I say something, then it's totally true." And just like them kind of using a tone with you or saying something really shitty to you, and then when you call them on it, they're like, "I didn't mean that," because they're being passive aggressive, right? But passive aggressive means that you could just say you weren't actually being that way, and the words you actually said didn't actually say that, right? Or no, you took it out of context, or I didn't mean it that way. It's like, so basically, this psychopathy of everything I say is true and it's absolute, but then everything else is totally up for debate. And it's like, well, Matt, that sounds like what you're saying here. It's like, no, I think I'm not. It's like, okay, Matt, yeah, are you gonna explain that? You got cognitive dissonance now. It's like, basically 2 plus 2 equals 4, guys. 2 plus 2 equals 4. There are some things that are true or not. I'm not sure in a lot of cases, I'm not sure what's true or not, but in a lot of things, like with the capital N nature, the Stoics talk about it and stuff. And I mean the actual Stoics, not like Ryan Holiday making it into some kind of empowerment light kind of thing, not even like Tony Robbins empowerment, just sort of like light empowerment. LITE, not LIGHT, but maybe false light. But like capital N nature, it's like you can observe things and you can say like, okay, well, if I eat food and then I gain energy and then I defecate, it's like, okay, so you could say that eating food, it would be natural to eat food and then defecate. It would be less natural to eat something just because you want to taste something and then to throw it up again. That would be less natural. But you have in our society a lot of people, proverbially, with a lot of things, saying like, well, it's just as natural to throw up, and actually that's even more natural. And the natural way for me is to eat food and then to voluntarily throw it up. But that is my nature, and that's unmoving unless I say it is, and at the exact point that I say it is. And it's like, Matt, this is a metaphor for something else, right? It's like it's a metaphor for a lot, actually. It's sort of an obvious metaphor for something else, but it covers a lot. Again, go back to, if I say it, then it's absolutely true and you can't question it. And then everything else, you can't say anything about it because there's nothing to say about it. And so that's what the liars say. That's what the one-eyed men say. And then that's what a lot of people follow along with. And they're still following along with, and probably actually in some cases maybe subscribing to lies that they just haven't thought about very much. Like I was back in the day when I was like, oh no, Donald Trump is going to be elected president. And then it's like, oh, wait a second. It's like, he's actually the better option. It's like, oh, wait a second. No, it's actually just totally false. And we're coming back around to it's totally false. But what he pretends to represent is like in many ways a lot better. But it's still false and it's still evil on his face, etc. Anyway. But then you have the two-eyed man, because the two-eyed man is the honest man. And the honest man stands tall. You have the honest man, the dishonest man, and the lied to.